evil kings that did evil. And weird, I mean really weird things. In history, and for context, some of the guys I'm going to mention were not titled kings, but they still held high positions of power, so I will refer them as evil king. Starting off with evil king number 1, Caligula, Rome's bizarre madman. Caligula was not your typical Roman emperor. He was infamous for his erratic behavior and bizarre antics. Picture a ruler who believed he was a living god and did everything in his power to make sure everyone else knew it. His claim to divinity led to some outrageous stunts. For instance, he reportedly tried to make his horse, Incitatus, a consul. Caligula must have been the first to turn pet pampering into a political statement. Caligula's cruelty was legendary. He reportedly had people executed for the most trivial offenses, like not showing him enough respect. Talk about taking personal beef to the extreme. He was known for his lavish parties and insane spending. The Roman treasury practically ran dry because of his extravagant tastes. If you thought your spending habits were bad, imagine blowing your entire country's budget on wild parties. Caligula's reign was marked by a total disregard for Roman traditions. He even tried to have himself worshipped as a deity. It's like he was competing in a one-man cult of personality contest. He didn't limit his madness to just politics. Caligula was said to have committed numerous sexual abuses, turning his rule into a scandalous mess. His personal life was as chaotic as his political career. His reign was filled with paranoia and fear. Caligula's erratic behavior made him enemies everywhere. Even his closest allies were not safe from his suspicions and cruel whims. His reign ended in assassination by his own guards. Caligula's own madness led to his downfall, proving that a tyrant's reign can end as dramatically as it began. After his death, the Senate officially condemned his memory. Caligula's rule became synonymous with tyranny and insanity, marking him as one of Rome's most infamous emperors. Caligula's legacy is a classic example of how absolute power can lead to absolute madness. His reign serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked authority and personal delusion. Evil king number 2, Henry VIII, the six-wife wonder. Henry VIII was the English king who couldn't keep a wife, literally. His marriages were a series of disasters, each one ending in either divorce or execution. If he had a dating profile, it would be marked by a lot of red flags. His first wife, Catherine of Aragon, was dumped because Henry wanted a male heir. He divorced her and went on to marry Anne Boleyn, whom he later had executed. Henry's matrimonial woes read like a soap opera script. Henry's quest for a male heir led to the creation of the Church of England. When the Pope refused to annul his marriage, Henry decided to start his own religion. Talk about taking personal convictions to a new level. His reign was marked by extravagant spending and lavish court life. Henry's appetite for luxury put a huge strain on England's finances. If he weren't busy executing wives, he might have been noted for bankrupting the country. Henry's reign saw a series of brutal purges. He eliminated anyone who opposed him, including some of his closest advisors. His court became a deadly game of keep your head or lose it. His health deteriorated as he aged, leading to a series of physical ailments. By the end of his life, Henry was not only notorious for his marriages, but also for his grossly overweight and unhealthy condition. Despite his many wives, Henry's legacy is also marked by his significant changes to English law and religion. The creation of the Church of England was a monumental shift with long-lasting effects. His death marked the end of a tumultuous reign. Henry left behind a legacy of religious reform, marital discord, and political upheaval, making him one of history's more colorful rulers. Henry VIII's life shows how personal desires can lead to widespread changes. His reign is a mix of drama, ambition, and legacy, all wrapped up in one infamous life. Finally, Henry's story is a reminder of how personal obsessions can reshape history. His life and reign illustrate the chaotic impact of having too much power and not enough self-control. Evil king number 3, Ivan the Terrible, Russia's original tyrant. Ivan IV, better known as Ivan the Terrible, was a czar whose cruelty was as legendary as his name. His reign was marked by a series of violent purges and brutal methods of control. Ivan's infamous Oprichnina was a personal police force that terrorized Russia. He used them to root out dissent and eliminate anyone he saw as a threat. Imagine a secret police that doubled as your worst nightmare. His violence extended to his own family. Ivan killed his own son in a fit of rage, an act that was as horrifying as it was tragic. Talk about family drama with deadly consequences. Ivan's reign was characterized by a series of brutal campaigns and wars. He sought to expand Russia's territory through relentless aggression, often at the cost of his own people's lives. His paranoia and cruelty created a climate of fear and mistrust. Ivan's court became a dangerous place where betrayal and treachery were commonplace. It's like living in a constant game of trust no one. Despite his reputation for brutality, Ivan was also known for his contributions to Russian culture. He supported the arts and helped lay the foundation for the Russian Orthodox Church, proving that even tyrants can have a complicated legacy. His reign ended in chaos and instability. After Ivan's death, Russia faced a period of turmoil and civil strife, highlighting the destructive impact of his rule. Ivan the Terrible's life serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of absolute power. His reign shows how unchecked authority can lead to unimaginable cruelty and suffering. His legacy is a mix of terror and achievement, illustrating the complex nature of his rule. Ivan's life and reign are remembered for their extremes, from ruthless violence to significant contributions to Russian culture. Finally, Ivan the Terrible's story is a chilling example of how power can corrupt absolutely. His reign remains a powerful reminder of the destructive potential of tyranny. Evil King number 4. Leopold II of Belgium, the colonial villain. Leopold II of Belgium was infamous for his brutal exploitation of the Congo Free State. His reign was marked by extreme cruelty and greed, turning a colony into a nightmare. Under Leopold's rule, the Congo experienced widespread atrocities. Forced labor, mutilation, and mass killings were all part of his oppressive regime. If there was a competition for colonial cruelty, Leopold would have taken the gold medal. His exploitation of the Congo led to the deaths of millions. Leopold's insatiable greed drove him to extreme measures, causing untold suffering. His name became synonymous with colonial brutality. Leopold's legacy is a dark chapter in history. The international condemnation of his actions eventually forced him to relinquish control of the Congo. His reign is a stark reminder of the evils of imperialism. Despite the global outrage, Leopold amassed a vast personal fortune. His wealth grew as his atrocities continued, highlighting the dark irony of his reign. The more he exploited, the richer he became. The impact of Leopold's rule left lasting scars in the Congo. His brutal legacy is still felt in the region today, a grim reminder of his cruelty and exploitation. Leopold's reign is a chilling example of how unchecked power can lead to unimaginable suffering. His rule serves as a reminder of the darkest aspects of human nature and imperial ambition. His life and reign are a sobering example of the consequences of absolute greed. Leopold's actions in the Congo remain a powerful reminder of the evils of colonial exploitation. Leopold's legacy is one of extreme brutality and exploitation. His reign is a dark chapter in the story of colonialism, illustrating the depths of human cruelty. Finally, Leopold II's story serves as a warning about the dangers of unchecked power and greed. His reign is a powerful reminder of the need for vigilance against tyranny and exploitation. Evil King number 5. Nero, Rome's most infamous party animal. Nero, the last emperor of the Julio-Claudian dynasty, was known for his wild parties and cruel acts. His reign was marked by bizarre and horrific behavior that made him infamous in Roman history. Nero allegedly played the lyre while Rome burned during the Great Fire of 64 AD. His lack of concern for the city's disaster made him look like he was more interested in music than in saving lives. His cruelty was legendary, including the brutal execution of his mother, Agrippina. He arranged for her to be drowned in a shipwreck, turning family drama into a tragic spectacle. Nero used Christians as scapegoats for the fire, leading to horrific executions. His persecution of Christians involved burning them alive, a spectacle that highlighted his cruelty and desire for public displays of power. Nero fancied himself an artist and forced people to watch his performances. His reign turned into a medieval talent show where the audience had no choice but to endure his self-indulgent performances. His obsession with naming Rome after himself led to the creation of Neronian Rome. Nero's narcissism reached new heights as he tried to immortalize himself through grandiose renaming schemes. Nero's reign included a series of purges, including the execution of his wife Octavia. His cruelty extended to his personal life, where betrayal and murder were the norm. His downfall was as dramatic as his reign. After a series of revolts, Nero was declared a public enemy and took his own life in a manner that was both tragic and fitting for his reign. Nero's legacy is a mix of cruelty and eccentricity. His reign remains a fascinating and controversial period in Roman history, known for its excesses and bizarre behavior. Finally, Nero's life serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of absolute power and unchecked ambition. His reign illustrates how personal flaws and tyranny can lead to a dramatic and destructive legacy. Evil King number 6. Timur the Lame, the conqueror who made everyone cringe. Timur, also known as Tamerlane, was a conqueror whose methods were as brutal as they were effective. His reign was marked by widespread destruction and terror. Timur was infamous for his tactic of creating pyramids of skulls from the victims of his conquests. If you thought war trophies were bad, Timur took them to a whole new level. His military campaigns were known for their speed and ruthlessness. Timur's armies moved with shocking efficiency, leaving devastation in their wake. He was the medieval equivalent of a blitzkrieg. His cruelty extended to both enemies and his own subjects. Timur was known for his harsh punishments and brutal methods of control. His reign was marked by a pervasive atmosphere of fear. Despite his brutality, Timur made significant contributions to architecture and the arts. His reign included impressive projects, like the Registan in Samarkand, showing that even the most ruthless leaders can leave behind a complex legacy. Timur's conquest resulted in massive loss of life and widespread suffering. His use of terror as a tool of control made him a formidable figure in history, but also a symbol of extreme cruelty. His downfall came after a series of internal conflicts and challenges. Timur's death marked the end of a reign characterized by both military genius and brutal tyranny. Timur's legacy includes both his military success and his reputation for brutality. His life serves as a reminder of how power and ruthlessness can leave a lasting mark on history. His architectural achievements are overshadowed by his violent methods. Timur's contributions to culture are often forgotten in the shadow of his ruthless conquests. Finally, Timur's reign is a stark example of how extreme ambition and brutality can combine to create a truly terrifying leader. His life and legacy remain a powerful reminder of the impact of unchecked power and cruelty. Evil King number 7. Attila the Hun. The barbarian ruler with a bad reputation. Attila the Hun was a ruler who instilled fear across Europe with his aggressive conquests and ruthless tactics. His reign was marked by terror and destruction. Attila was known for his relentless invasions of the Roman Empire. His campaigns were so devastating that they caused widespread panic and destruction. He was like the medieval version of a natural disaster. His nickname, the Scourge of God, reflected his reputation for brutality. Attila's reign was a period of intense fear and suffering, marked by his reputation as a merciless conqueror. Attila's methods included widespread pillaging and destruction. He was known for burning cities and massacring entire populations. His invasions were marked by a trail of death and devastation. Despite his reputation for cruelty, Attila was also a skilled diplomat. He negotiated treaties with the Roman Empire and other powers, showing that even the most feared conquerors can have political savvy. His death marked the end of a reign of terror. After Attila's death, his empire quickly fell apart, showing that even the most feared leaders can have a short-lived impact. Attila's legacy is a mix of fear and respect. His reign is remembered for its brutality, but also for his skill in warfare and diplomacy. He remains a complex and controversial figure in history. His invasions left a lasting impact on Europe, contributing to the decline of the Western Roman Empire. Attila's actions played a significant role in shaping the course of European history. Despite his fearsome reputation, Attila's legacy is not entirely negative. His role in history includes both his brutal conquests and his contributions to the decline of the Roman Empire. Finally, Attila the Hun's story is a powerful example of how fear and power can shape history. His reign serves as a reminder of the impact of ruthless ambition and military prowess. Evil King number 8. Vlad the Impaler, the original vampire. Vlad the Impaler, also known as Vlad III, was a ruler whose name became synonymous with brutality. His reign was marked by his infamous method of impalement. Vlad's favorite method of execution was impalement, which involved placing victims on long, sharp stakes. His brutality made him a historical figure associated with extreme cruelty. His reign was characterized by a series of gruesome punishments. Vlad used impalement as a means of instilling fear and maintaining control over his subjects and enemies. Vlad's cruelty extended to his own people, with many subjected to horrific punishments for minor infractions. His reign was marked by a pervasive atmosphere of terror. His brutality inspired the legend of Dracula. Vlad's name became associated with vampire lore, blending historical fact with fictional horror. He became a character in a famous tale of terror. Despite his cruelty, Vlad was a skilled military leader. His reputation for brutality was used as a psychological weapon to intimidate his enemies. Fear became his most effective weapon in warfare. Vlad's reign ended with his overthrow and death. His legacy is a complex mix of military prowess and extreme cruelty, leaving a dark chapter in history. His life and reign serve as a chilling example of how absolute power can lead to extreme brutality. Vlad's story remains a powerful reminder of the impact of unchecked authority. Vlad's legacy is remembered both for his military achievements and his brutal methods. His reign illustrates the destructive power of fear and cruelty. Finally, Vlad the Impaler's life is a stark reminder of how extreme cruelty can leave a lasting mark on history. His reign is a dark chapter that highlights the impact of ruthless leadership. Evil King number 9. King John of England, the not-so-great king. King John, often considered one of England's worst rulers, was known for his numerous blunders. His reign was marked by ineptitude and failure, earning him a reputation for incompetence. His conflict with the barons led to the signing of the Magna Carta. John's inability to manage his relationships with the nobility resulted in a historic document that limited the king's power. John's reign was characterized by poor financial management. His heavy taxation and mismanagement led to widespread discontent. It's like he was trying to bankrupt the kingdom through sheer incompetence. His military failures were notable, including significant losses in France. John's inability to defend his territories made him a ruler known for losing everything he touched. John's disputes with the church further weakened his position. His conflicts with the Pope and excommunications added to his reputation for poor governance. His treatment of his subjects was harsh and punitive. John's reign was marked by oppressive taxes and measures, making him one of history's least popular rulers. Despite his many failures, John's legacy includes the Magna Carta. This document became a symbol of the struggle for constitutional rights and limitations on royal power, ironically highlighting his failures. His reign ended in relative obscurity, with his death marking the end of a period of instability. John's legacy is defined by his failures and shortcomings. King John's life serves as a cautionary tale of poor leadership. His reign is remembered for its incompetence and mismanagement. Finally, King John's story is a reminder that not all historical figures are remembered for their greatness. His legacy is defined by his failures, making him a symbol of ineptitude. Evil King number 10. Nero, Rome's most infamous party animal. Nero, the infamous Roman emperor, is remembered for his eccentric and tyrannical rule. His reign was marked by bizarre behavior and cruel acts. Nero allegedly played the liar while Rome burned during the Great Fire of 64 AD. His indifference to the disaster made him look like he was more interested in performing than in saving lives. His cruelty included the execution of his mother, Agrippina, and his wife, Octavia. Nero's family drama was as extreme as his public spectacles. Nero persecuted Christians, using them as scapegoats for the fire. He had them burned alive, turning his cruelty into a public performance of terror. His obsession with the arts led to forced performances and a reign filled with self-indulgent shows. Nero's court became a stage where everyone had to endure his endless talent displays. Nero's extravagant spending led to financial strain on the empire. His obsession with grand projects and luxury created a financial mess for Rome. His reign was marked by revolts and conspiracies. Nero's erratic behavior alienated his supporters, leading to his eventual downfall. Nero's life ended in suicide after being declared a public enemy. His dramatic end was fitting for his tumultuous and controversial reign. Nero's legacy combines cruelty with eccentricity. His reign is remembered for its extremes, from his brutal actions to his self-indulgent performances. Finally, Nero's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and personal flaws. His reign serves as a reminder of how absolute authority can lead to disaster. Evil King number 11. Timur the Lame, the conqueror who made everyone cringe. Timur, or Tamerlane, was a conqueror known for his extreme brutality and military prowess. His reign was marked by widespread destruction and terror. Timur was infamous for his method of creating pyramids of skulls from his victims. His gruesome tactics made him a historical figure known for unimaginable cruelty. His military campaigns were swift and devastating. Timur's armies moved with incredible speed, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. He was the medieval equivalent of a blitzkrieg. Timur's cruelty extended to his own subjects. His reign was marked by harsh punishments and extreme measures of control. Fear was a constant presence in his rule. Despite his brutality, Timur was a patron of the arts and architecture. His reign included impressive projects like the Registan in Samarkand, blending his violent conquests with cultural achievements. Timur's conquest resulted in massive loss of life. His use of terror and violence as tools of control left a lasting impact on the regions he invaded. His downfall came with a series of internal conflicts. Timur's death marked the end of a reign characterized by both military success and brutal tyranny. Timur's legacy is a mix of military achievement and extreme cruelty. His life serves as a reminder of the impact of unchecked ambition and ruthlessness. His architectural contributions are overshadowed by his violent methods. Timur's legacy includes both his achievements and his reputation for brutality. Finally, Timur's story is a powerful example of how ambition and cruelty can shape history. His reign remains a dark chapter in the annals of conquest and tyranny. Evil King number 12. Pol Pot, the Khmer Rouge's brutal leader. Pol Pot was the leader of the Khmer Rouge, known for his extreme and radical policies. His rule led to one of the darkest periods in Cambodian history. His plan to create a classless agrarian society led to the dismantling of education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Pol Pot's vision of a perfect society caused widespread suffering and chaos. His regime was marked by extreme violence and paranoia. Pol Pot conducted mass purges and executions of perceived enemies, often with little evidence. He was like the hall monitor from hell of political leaders. The Khmer Rouge's brutal practices included the infamous killing fields. Thousands were executed, and the legacy of Pol Pot's reign is a grim reminder of his inhumane methods. Despite the devastation, Pol Pot's regime did achieve some of its radical goals. However, the cost was immense, with millions of lives lost and a country left in ruins. His vision of utopia was a catastrophic failure. Pol Pot's downfall came after internal conflicts and external pressures. His regime was eventually overthrown, but the damage to Cambodia was already profound. The legacy of Pol Pot's rule is a stark reminder of the dangers of radical ideologies. His reign illustrates how extreme beliefs can lead to unimaginable suffering. Pol Pot's life serves as a cautionary tale of unchecked power and radicalism. His legacy is a sobering example of the impact of extreme political ideologies. Despite his attempts to reshape Cambodian society, Pol Pot's legacy is one of devastation and loss. His reign remains a dark chapter in modern history. Finally, Pol Pot's story is a chilling reminder of how ideology and power can combine to create devastating consequences. His reign serves as a powerful example of the impact of tyranny and radicalism. And that's it from this video. See you in the next one.